There's a raging debate on the internet right now. And no, it's not the one about whether or not Trump can fire federal officials. That's too boring and mundane. I'm talking about beans. Should beans be included in your chili recipe? That's the debate. I'm not going to settle that debate here. You're going to find out what I think here in a minute. But it's on my mind because I'm continuing the series of 101 ways to use ground beef. And today I'm talking about beef and legumes. You can probably guess where I stand on beans and chili if I'm including chili as one of the items in the list of how to use ground beef with legumes. All right, so one of the other favorites in our household is lentil soup with ground beef in this case. It's so versatile. You can take lentils in a variety of different directions. You can go with a simple French countryside style soup where you just have some carrots and onions and celery, herbs, salt and pepper with a rich stock, maybe a good bone broth you've been simmering over the last day. Fry up your ground beef, mix that into the soup with the lentils and the stock and the veggies, and you've got a delicious, hearty meal. But you could also spice it up and go more of the Indian style with some warm spices, maybe add some hot pepper flavor in there as well. Another option on the Indian front is making a chickpea curry with ground beef. Now, lots of people think of chickpeas just as the hummus bean, but it's really good just if you pan cook it with lots of seasonings. You're going to fry up your ground beef, and you could make this very spicy. You could just do a simple base of tomato, onion, and garlic with curry plant leaves and some warm spices in the curry world of spices. Or you buy a prepackaged mix and take it how you want it. It's delicious. Chickpeas and ground beef. Now, this whole series started with the question from a subscriber of, what do I do with the extra ground beef in my freezer? I'm tired of burgers and meatballs. And so I took that as a challenge of not to include burgers and meatballs in the list. But I do want to include burgers and meatballs because I think they're so versatile, especially burgers. You could have your standard American burger, on a typical burger bun with some tomato and lettuce and cheese, and it's good. Like, everybody loves a good burger, but I can see why you'd get tired of it. But you can take the burger a lot of different ways. You could, instead of using the standard bun, use ciabatta bread and put the burger on the ciabatta bread with a pesto mayonnaise and goat cheese and maybe some fresh greens, something spicy like arugula. And that is a delicious way to have a burger, and it's unlike the typical experience. You could also have an open face burger. Fry up a thin slice of sourdough bread in a pan with some butter or your fat of choice. Top it with the burger, melt some Havarti cheese, add some spice with some arugula or other fresh greens, and it's a delicious way to enjoy a burger. I mean, even if you want to just keep things generally simple, but change up the meat in your burger. We like to make what we call cow pig burgers, where we mix 50-50 ground beef and ground sausage, usually just a standard breakfast sausage, or you could use a heavily saged breakfast sausage, or you could use an Italian or Polish sausage. Whatever the sausages you have on hand, blend that with your ground beef, make it into a burger patty, and cook it. What you're going to get is a fattier, juicier burger with a lot more flavor than if you just do the standard ground beef patty. When it comes to meatballs, I get it, they can get old, but if you're tired of meatballs and spaghetti, turn them into a po' boy. All right, so I've got 6 more items in the list. These are just a random assortment of things that I haven't included in earlier videos in other categories. Number 1 is ground beef gyros. You don't need to get fancy with gyros, or also known as in our household, pita tacos. Just use Greek-inspired seasonings in your ground beef as if you were making a taco filling, and then put those on a pita, cover it with tzatziki, and you've got another meal that is a new twist on ground beef for a weeknight dinner. All right, number 2, a little more involved, beef empanadas. Next up is the quick and dirty French dip sandwich. You don't need to get fancy with your roast beef to enjoy a good French dip. Shoot, you don't even need to have a jus to dip your sandwich in. Just fry up your ground beef, season it well, caramelize your onions in the pan drippings from the ground beef, put that on a sandwich with some mayonnaise. Oh, and it's delicious. It's a quick and dirty way to get a great weeknight meal. All right, a couple more quick ones with Latino flair. Beef enchiladas. Super simple, super delicious. Everyone's always happy to have them. And then one of my favorites, because I'm a sucker for tortilla chips, is beef nachos. So that's a wrap on this series of 101 ways to use ground beef that's not meatballs and burgers. Although I included those at the end here because they're delicious and highly versatile in their own right. If you want to see the rest of the series, subscribe to our newsletter at melvinhillmeats.com. I'll be happy to share with you the series that's gone out over the last few weeks to our existing subscribers. If you want more videos like this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for future drops. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers, everybody.